Hello, peace and blessings, everyone. It's that time. It's that time for another interview. This is a unique interview. So I give you all a chance to pop in before we actually get started. And hope you all are having a great day so far as the day is, we're just getting started on our day. So I hope everything's going well for everybody. And well, I guess it depends on what time it is. It's almost noon, so we all should be in a good part of our day. Good morning, Brittany. Peace, my sister. How are you? So I give you all a few moments to pop in, and so the guests can get ready and get prepared to come in as well. Hi, Tasha. So yeah, this is a unique interview, and if this is popping up in your feed for the first time and you're like, who is this woman? This is Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, and I'm the host of this show. I'm Angela Jordan Perry, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself in just a little bit, but this is, like I said, a unique show. I have had so many people ask me, Angela, have you did an interview? Have you done an interview? Have you done an interview? And I said, no, I haven't done an interview. So guess what? Today I'm going to do my own interview. And so we'll see how this plays out. And I ask these questions all the time to so many people. So now's my time to answer them myself. All right. So I will give you all the nitty gritty about who I am, but some deeper thoughts behind all the whys and hows of my homeschooling journey. I'll share that with you. So first of all, let me let you know that Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, this is a platform to give voice to those of the African homeschooling diaspora and to those who are in marginalized homeschoolers. So if you're thinking, I've had people ask me, what is a diaspora? That's a great question. And then also have people ask me, what is marginalized homeschooling? So another great question. So here I will, give detail into all of that. So when you think of the diaspora is basically those who are African descent, who were scattered. We were all in that, or our ancestors were all in Africa, and that's where we originated from. And then there was a scattering, and we scattered here, there, and all over by force, most likely majority, and that is the diaspora, the African diaspora. Now you add homeschooling onto that, that's another element that fractionizes us down even further. We are the African homeschooling diaspora who are scattered about. So this platform gathers us back together and let us see that, hey, we are united, though you might be the only one in Nebraska, but we're looking for other people who are in Nebraska of the African homeschooling diaspora who's homeschooling as well. So that's what the African diaspora is, or the African homeschooling diaspora is, that scattering of a people, okay? Mm-hmm. The next thing is marginalized homeschooling. What in the world is that? So marginalized homeschooling are those who are particularly homeschooling, and you can say they're in the margins. They're not in the majority, okay? So African diaspora could be considered the margins. We're not in the majority at all. But then you have those who are homeschooling because of sexual orientation, maybe religious reasons. They're not of the primary, I won't say whatever the primary religion is you think it is. So they're not of that faith base. Or maybe their children are homeschooling because of sexual orientation or because of illnesses or specifics of that. They're in the margins. They're on the outskirts, not the center main focus. So this platform is for them as well, okay? So that's a little bit about that. And I'll tell you about myself in just a little bit. Let me read my bio. Now, I will try and do this without my glasses, which is one of the reasons I don't do glasses, because the light always reflects. Hey, Daryl, Uncle Daryl. Hey there. Hey, Raven. You all, thanks for stopping in. Hey, Nina. Hi, Ink. And I hope I said your name right. If I didn't, please forgive me. Hi, Tammy. Good morning. Hi, Anita. Good morning. Good morning, you all. So let me read. Again, this is a special platform today because I'm doing my own interview. So let me read my bio to you. I'm putting my glasses. It says, Angela Jordan Perry is the host of Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, the show and platform that gives voice to the African homeschooling diaspora and marginalized homeschoolers. You've seen her interview over 70 melanated homeschooling moms and dads Now hear her story in this exclusive interview on Memorial Day 2018. Homeschooling hottie. Now I have to say my children gave me that H word. I was trying to think of another H and one of them said hottie and I thought, oh, okay. So homeschooling hottie of 8 children ages 22, 20, 18, 14, 11, 9, 9, and 7. Both she and her partner, husband, is 26 years of marriage, makes their homestead in the northwest of South Carolina, where they are self-sustaining farmers and owners of Java Up Coffee Cafe. With a passion for serving the homeschooling community, Angela owns and operates an Option 3 Accountability Association in South Carolina, which is called United Community of Homeschoolers Unlimited, providing legal homeschooling status to homeschooling families in South Carolina. And my website is on the bio. You can look at that. Additionally, she is the director and founder of STEAM Co-op of the Upstate, a diverse homeschool cooperative with a science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics focus. Founder of Mocha Homeschooling Mamas, South Carolina. Host of Girlfriends Chat podcast. Toastmaster Competent Communicator recipient and immediate former president of Women's Empowerment Toastmasters Greenville, executive director of marketing at Young Living, racial injustice activist, exercise guru, and a blue personality wannabe, yet overtaken by a red personality. So, that's who I am. All right. So I take my glasses off so the light won't shine on me. So, first of all, my question is, tell a little bit more about yourself and how you actually got started in homeschooling. So that's just my story. I was raised in Virginia, Suffolk, Virginia, by my mother, who conceived me at 16, birthed me at 17. So this is a little bit more details. And I had a great aunt and uncle who I'm glad my Uncle Daryl is on here today. They really poured a lot into my life, as my mom did as well. So a big formation of even seeing homeschooling came as a result of seeing my Aunt Mickey is what I call her, and Uncle Daryl, who's up here today, seeing them on this homeschooling journey. They were the first and only Black people I had ever seen homeschooling. And I just like the idea of being in your home with your children all day and spending that time and just growing with them in relationships. I love that idea. That was the first time I had seen that. And I think it might have been the first time I had ever seen a stay-at-home mom who wasn't having to work outside of their home. So my uncle and aunt, who at the time were living in Charlotte, North Carolina, was an anomaly to me. They were like, wow. And just set such just precedents for me to desire and to want to, follow as well. So that was the only reason. So as I started, my husband and I started having our own children, then it became more apparent, and our reasons for homeschooling began to shape, Oh, thank you, Tasha. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Then my reasons for homeschooling began to shape and form. And my first one, she was easy. From birth, we're always homeschooling our children. So my oldest one, she loved learning. And so it was very easy for me to teach her her name and how to spell her name at, 2 and 3 years old. Really at 2 is when we started. And she could say her alphabets and her numbers and all this stuff. And so I thought, wow, I'm schooling already. And so we just kept going all the way. Got books and all this kind of stuff and started schooling her. And she had this infatuation with the big yellow bus. She wanted to be on the big yellow bus. So her second grade year, we allowed her to go to a public school in Virginia. I think it's called a charter school. I think that's what a magnet school is what it was called. And their focus was foreign languages and something like that. I can't remember now. But it was a really good school, I thought. And I said, yep, you know what? If you get in, you had to put in the application. If she got accepted, then I would just take that as we should go to the school and just check it out. So she did her second grade year, and it was enough for us to know that's not where we want our children. She was introduced to one student who decided to teach her all the curse words that she didn't know. I mean, we didn't curse. We weren't family who used language like that. So a student called a teacher a bitch, and she thought, what was that? What is that word? And she said, you don't know what that word is? And she took her in the bathroom and wrote it on the walls for her to see, and she learned all her curse words then. I mean, she forgot them because it wasn't words that she heard all the time. And then the second incident in public school was two other things that let me know this is not where we want to be. One was a little boy decided when they were sitting on the floor for board time, the teacher was teaching math at the board, a little boy just decided to go up her dress with his fingers like a little spider and crawl right up her legs. And that was a big hoopla. They had to call the police and DSS and all this kind of stuff because that was right at the height when sexual harassment was becoming really big. So that was a big hoopla, and we didn't want to press charges, of course, against this little boy and her mom and family. So, wow, that was a mess. And then the third thing was it was just a wasted year. I mean, because a lot of the learning that she had did in school, they were saying that she could not, continue on. I mean, the things she learned in homeschool, she couldn't continue on in public school, like cursive writing. We don't do that in the second grade. Her reading, her math, everything was delayed because they wouldn't move her up to the next grade. That means she would be younger than her peers if she went up to the third grade or fourth grade. So they kept her in the second grade, and she was just bored out of her brain, and it was just a whole setback. So for all those reasons, we decided, girlfriends, nope, public school is not for us. Then came along my son. It was time for him to go to school, and he was a live wire. When I say live wire, I mean live wire. He was the kid I was like, I want to send him somewhere. I want to send him somewhere. I want to send him somewhere. And got him prepared to go to preschool at 4. When I say live wire, live. Now he's this subdued, calm, and laid-back kid. You can't believe it's the same kid. But anyway, sent him on to public preschool, went through orientation and all that, and then they decided that, or they told me what he would be learning, and I thought, well, he knows this, he knows that, he knows this. He knew everything that he was going to be learning in preschool. I could have just sent him there just because I just needed a break from this little guy 3 days a week. But then my heart felt bad because I knew if he would have stayed, hey there, Regina, I knew if he would have stayed in preschool, then he would be labeled ADHD, put on some drugs or something because he was full of energy. So kept him home and homeschooled him. And from that point, I thought, well, forget it. We're just going to homeschool. My husband was completely on board, and so therefore our journey has been now these 18 years. So if you don't know, our oldest 4 are our children we birthed from my womb, and my younger 4 are those we adopted from my heart. We adopted a singleton, and then we adopted a set of twins and his baby brother. And so I homeschooled those 4, and when we got the other ones, each one I fought to say, listen, we're going to adopt these children. I want to start homeschooling. And so the judge said, yep, you can go right ahead. And so we adopted them, and they've all been, we adopted them and been homeschooling them all. So that's a bit of my journey and a little bit about my story. And my purpose-driven life, as you've heard me say many times, is to make a positive impact on thousands of homeschoolers worldwide. And how did I come up with that? Because, in life you got to pour out. And so you figure out is my gifting? What do I love to do? 1, I enjoy talking. 2, homeschooling is my passion now, 18 years of it. And 3, particularly to this group and people, my own people, my passion is to show that it can be done. You all can do it. We really need to figure out how to do this for our own children. We are going to be our best advocate for our own kids, even if we don't feel capable. Failure is not possible, and failure is not even something you have to fear because we have a village of those who are there to help and resources available. So, all right, so with that all in, that's a little bit of my introduction of who I am. So the question always is, what was your first year of homeschooling like? All right, well, my first year of homeschooling, like I said, with my oldest one, we have been homeschooling already. When I tell you at 2 years old, she could tell you everything, her colors, numbers, name, address, mom's name, her numbers, tire, shoes, rider name, everything at 2. And it was just easy to continue on. But all I knew at that point was to bring school into my home. So it worked. We started off with Abeka. We got those books. That's what I heard. I think my aunt must have been using. I think that's how I heard about it. So we got the Abeka platform, and I love Abeka. I've used Abeka all the way through as a start off. They have a great start off for, preschool and kindergarten. So, I mean, it was a good start. Now, I had her at the time when we officially started. She was 4. I had my son who was 2, and I had a baby. So when we started, and I had a home business, a childcare business in my home with 5 other children at the time. So I know my gifting is administration, so I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, this is too much, because I could handle it. Boom, 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 boom. And more work I had to do, the better my brain works. When I don't have a lot to do, my brain goes into slow, sludgy motion. So, but it was a good start. I can't complain. Would I change anything? Well, that's the next question later. But it was a really good start, and I juggled it well. And those children who I had, that was in my child care, I homeschooled them too. So I was homeschooling everyone. My 4-year-old oldest, my 2-year-old, I told you he was about to go to preschool at 4, but he had learned everything. Started schooling him at 2, and then I had my baby. And then the others, I homeschooled. So every day they learned Spanish. I had a video for Spanish. I utilize a lot of videos. Spanish, please share what your budget looks like for homeschooling multiple children and how you are and your husband generate the income to afford it. Okay, I answer that, Tasha, sure. So at the beginning, like I said, when we started 18 years ago, our budget was like hardly nothing. My husband worked for Polo Ralph Lauren. He went up the ladder of management with Polo Ralph Lauren, the clothes, the little polo. So everything in our house, polo sheets, polo towel, we are polo. We're a walking polo advertisement in this house. But so that's how our income was. But I also had my childcare business. Basically, I started that. Let me see, I'm jumping around, but I'm going to answer this real quick. I started the childcare business because I told you I do better with many things going on. And so at the time, I was schooling my little girl who was 4. My home was spotless. We had school. I mean, everything was just like boom. And I was sitting around the house like this. I had my meal plan. I was super organized in my younger years. That was in my, 27. Yeah, because I had my number 3, 27. So at that age, I mean, I was very, very organized. And on top of it, everything was perfect. And so I just sat around the house, was bored, like, oh my gosh. I was like, Lord, I'm bored. I'm bored being a housewife. I am. And that's just the truth. What can I do? But I didn't want to leave my kids. So what could I do to make this make an income? Well, I didn't think to make an income. It just kind of fell into my lap. Somebody asked me to watch their children because where he was at the time, he kept getting, he had an allergy to milk, and he kept getting another child's bottle and kept getting sick. So anyway, that started it. And I said, sure, I'll watch your baby. And then it was like, whoa, I could watch other children. And so I got a total of 5 children, plus my 3 at the time, one of which I told you was a baby. I had 8 children. And that was great. I got to plan stuff. Oh, I was so excited. Things to do. I could plan, the day for the kids and all that kind of stuff. So every day they had Spanish. If you don't know, my background is Spanish. I lived in Spain for 3 years, my husband and I, and our oldest was born there. I was a missionary to El Salvador, Guatemala first, then Honduras, then El Salvador. So I've always had this love of Spanish, so I learned Spanish. So my kids were going to learn Spanish. So my children who I watch were going to learn Spanish. Taught them Spanish every day. We went over our ABCs and numbers and how to write and color. All the school, I was schooling 8 little children, all under the age of 4 and under, to be honest. Yep. And meal planning, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, and nap time. Oh, I loved it. And my Bible study, and I was getting up at 4:30 or so and exercising. I told you I was an exercise guru, although I've taken a hiatus because other things has jumped into my focus. But so that's how we did it. And then throughout the years of homeschooling, the way I homeschool 8 children, very good question, Tasha, is that I got materials. I got smart with this thing and started using materials that could be used across the board for all the kids. So I wouldn't have 3rd grade, all this different, segmented schooling, okay, segmented curriculum. So all the Abeka books, at the beginning, I used Abeka for my oldest one. And then each one I used Abeka. And I had a lot of the same books I could just pass right on down, right? So that was easy. And the books I have now for Abeka that I'm using now for my 7-year-old, I've had for my 22-year-old. So I've kept all that stuff, right? The other thing is for science, history, literature, those type of things. At the time, I was using Tapestry of Grace. If you're not familiar with that, Tapestry of Grace is amazing in that it's a classical focus. It has a grammar, dialectic, and rhetoric are the three forms. So if you're doing literature, they will give you suggestions for literature on a grammar level, younger children, dialectic, middle school, and then high school. And so then we could all talk about the same thing in literature or the same thing in geography. Or it has like 7 different parts to it. So Tapestry of Grace was my thing for a number of years. So how we afford it, I mean, we just keep it simple. And at the time when we lived not here where we live now, not in the country, we lived in the suburbs in a big home and blah, 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 this nice neighborhood, blah, 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 blah. You know, we had all of that. When my husband was working with at Polo Ralph Lauren, my kids, I had them in ballet 3 times a week for one child. They were all taking Suzuki violin lessons. My son was taking Irish step. My other daughter was on a team, a gymnastics team. My little one by that time, she was also in ballet. We were literally paying our normal mortgage for our home and then 2 mortgages just in extracurricular activity. How did we afford it? Yeah, he was working and then I had a little job in my home, business at home that I was doing. So it was very expensive, Tasha. I appreciate you sharing Guiding Light. We are following your lead. Oh, Tasha, you're so sweet. But yeah, we were, I don't know, we were just at that period of time just was blessed with the finances to do what we wanted to do. Okay, I want you all to take this. I want you to travel and go to, you know, we sent our oldest one off to, she go Norway and stayed for, I mean, so we were doing very well financially, if you want to say. And so you can have all the finances and the big house and the cars and all of these opportunities for your kids. And then you realize you're going crazy. Yeah, crazy. We were in the car, living in the car, driving here, there, every day outside of our house. Yes, that's what we were doing. Yes, it was crazy. And so it was so bad I had to get a cleaner. I wanted to stay home and take care of my kids, right, and homeschool. Well, we were never home. We were always in the car doing this, that, and the other. And so I had to hire people to come and clean my house. So I had, at that time, was blessed to have a homekeeper to come in and take care of the cleaning. And I thought, dude, we got a big house. We got this. And I can't even be in my house, clean my house. I got to hire someone else to clean my house. We halted everything, you all. Halt, screech. Took everybody out of everything. No violin, my other one's taking piano. No piano, no ballet, no Irish step, no tap dance, no gymnastics. Stopped everything for 6 months to reassess and get some value on what we needed to do. We were going crazy. I was going crazy. And paying for a maid to come and clean your house, you know? So we stopped and we reassessed and just looked at what things is really going to benefit our kids as they go on and to the future, college, have their own business. What was it? And the one harmonizing thing was violin. And so we stopped ballet, Irish step, gymnastics, tap dance, and my little one was in ballet. We stopped all of that and we continued violin and piano, and that was it. And to this day, it has served them well. My oldest one started her own violin studio. She had a great number of students. My second one, he stopped the violin, but he still has the violin. He hasn't gotten rid of it. They were pricey violins. He hasn't got rid of it. It's not his to get rid of. What am I talking about? And then the third one, she went on to study. She's studying violin performance now in college. Okay, so that's how we got started. It was a very smooth process, not hard at all. I loved it because I was very administrative and can think. So what are your daily habits and routines to prepare yourself for your school day is usually the next question. And so for me, what I do at this point of life, now I could tell you it's a whole different look at the beginning, but now at this point of life, I'm so much laid back in my schooling. We're now really diving into unschooling. So in the morning, I start my day in my bedroom. My kids who I'm still schooling, they know their responsibilities of what they need to do. They don't even need me for what they need to do in their self-study. They do their self-study, and while they're doing their self-study, I am in my bedroom. I start off with my morning meditation. I start off reading my affirmations. I have a little book I keep on my nightstand. I read through it every day and morning. Morning and night, I read through it. Then I look at Facebook and catch up on any quick messages and send up a morning posts. And that's my morning. And then I shower and start my day. I come out and get breakfast, and my kids, by that time, they're finishing their morning studies. Let's see, I had another question. You have confirmed so much for me just now. Clarity provided, giving thanks. Oh, Tasha, I'm glad. Very good. So anyway, so that's how I start my day every day. I am not in a rush and in a hurry. On Mondays is the only day I might be in a rush and a hurry to get started on my day. And that's because I have an 11 o'clock interview, which my tech check is at 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. Other than that, I tell you, I don't roll out of bed until about 9:30. I wake up about 8 and I go through that process, 8:30. I don't get out of bed to 9:30, 10, and I'm not ashamed, because when they were younger, it was me getting up early. I deserve some sleep now, right? So I really am not a morning person, though I don't wake up grouchy, but I don't rush in the morning. I'm very much a night person. So anyway, that's how I start my day. That's my habit every day. My younger ones get out. They take care of our animals. They feed the animals. Hey, beautiful. Hey, Shatanya. Hey, amen. I don't blame you. Yes, Regina. See, you have little ones. I don't have little ones anymore. So now I'm like, I don't have to get up early. I'm not getting up early. And I just don't. I just get up when my body says, all right, you're awake, and I start my day. All right, so the next question I have asked before, I haven't answered, but I kind of answered it here. Most families take 2 incomes or more to homeschool and work. How do you do it? And Tasha asked me that question. So right now, we're in a whole different place financially than we were back when I first started schooling all the way up until 4 years ago. So my husband, like I said, was in corporate America with Polo Ralph Lauren. He was a general manager with them, making very good income for us. I was able to stop working my little, business I was doing, but we were doing well financially. So now, just 4 years ago, my husband found himself at 44, about to go 45, and he was miserable. He was totally miserable on his job. He was making good money, but he hated it. And so it's more so, and he had a dream from when we lived in Spain. We fell in love with coffee in Spain, loved it. And so it was, he always wanted to start his own coffee business. So at 44, it was like, honey, you're not getting younger. And he would sit on the side of his bed, girlfriends, just be miserable to get ready to start his day. And I said, honey, you're not getting younger. Just go ahead and let's do it. Let's start your business. And so 4 years ago, he started his own mobile coffee cafe. We cashed in, our, retirement money and just went in it debt free and started our business. So now with him doing that and me, what I have going on, it's a big difference in income. But when you're happy, you're doing what you're doing, and you're living by faith, really. We're living by faith. As entrepreneurs, we live by faith. What we don't make, we don't have. Okay, I just tell you that. But it's been a journey, and I love the journey. So 2 incomes at this point for us, 3, 4, 5 incomes, streams of incomes is what we have going on now. 1, 2, 3, 4 streams of income, and we make it work because it's important to have residual income coming in, and then other aspects of income. So that's that. All right, take us to your worst day of homeschooling. I haven't even ever thought about this question. Take us to the worst day of homeschooling, where you almost decided to quit, Angela, and it just, you're like, I'm taking him somewhere. You was ready to quit, but you didn't, and this is why you're this successful homeschooling mom that you are today. Oh, okay, well, thank you. Talk about myself. My worst day of homeschooling, I'm sure it has to have been around my son. Yes, it was around my son. My second one, who I told you who was a live wire. Schooling him was tough all the way until the end, till graduation. And that was 2 years ago. Tough. This is a kid where I structured my day in such a way I had it timed so he could stay on course. Else, he would stay in a math book all day long doing 1 page. That was the kid he was to me. Ugh. It was just hard. It was hard schooling him. He wasn't motivated. He didn't have any interests, particularly. He did have interest in what he loved. He did. He taught himself Japanese. He studied Japanese. He learned the Japanese culture. He everything Japanese, and he did it. So I helped engage him. Now, I didn't have the mindset of unschooling because I could have helped him out a lot more in his schooling if I had that mindset, but I just didn't. So we had to work with what I had going on, you know, which was the traditional way. These are the things I want you to do, so do it, you know. And so he did those traditional things, but it was like pulling teeth, you all. It was hard. It was hard. But when it came to Japanese and all things Japanese, he loved it. And anime, he drew anime all day, and he taught himself to speak Japanese. We ended up getting him a tutor, and the tutor was like, and she lived in Japan. Her husband is Japanese, so her children was raised in Japan, so she knows Japanese very well, right? And she said of my son, I can't teach him anything else. At this point, he needs to go on to either live there, or she had a connection in I think it was the consulate, Japanese consulate in Greenville here. I think that's what you call it, that she was going to connect him with because he needed to go to the next level. But he was my hardest child. Every day, schooling him was a day I wanted to quit on schooling him. And that's just the truth. It was hard. Up until 2 years when he graduated. Now, this was the kicker. He decided to go off to military, and he took the ASVAB test. And I didn't know what to expect. I just knew he loved reading. He was an avid reader, but he didn't start reading until he was right at 8 years old. He didn't start reading until he was 8 years old, but then when he got it, and he became an avid reader. When I say reader, I mean like he wasn't afraid of how big the book was, or anything. He would read. Well, when he got to the ASVAB test just 2 years ago, he scored out the wazoo on the test. Out the wazoo. And when we got his scores back, you know, the recruiter, he was like, dude, look at your scores on this test. And I was like, what does that mean? He scored amazingly. Everything high, right? High numbers. And I can't remember the range right now, but he was high on those numbers. And I looked at my son, Jordan. I said, Jordan, all the years you put me through homeschooling and making it so hard and tough, and you're this brilliant kid. How in the world? So that goes to show, girlfriends, that I don't know how he learned and how he became where he was educationally, because it was hard as dirt. He did not make it easy. My first one made it easy. My third one made it easy. My fourth one, I'm still homeschooling. She's a self-learner, and my young ones. But that second child, that boy, Jordan, he made me want to quit every day. So, but I didn't. We made it to the end, and he graduated 2 years ago, and all of that. So what is my proudest moment in homeschooling? My proudest moment in homeschooling, and you know, this is right off the cuff to answer this question, but I think I need to find another answer, because when I was talking to Angela Phillips on Friday's interview, and you want to go and see that, so Angela, I tag you in this. When I was talking to her on Friday, I think it was Angela, and she mentioned about, you know, us homeschooling, often wanting it to be how well our kids do in homeschooling, often be a reflection of how great we did in schooling them, right? And so we get this proudness of, wow, we did a great job if our kids do X, Y, and Z. And, you know, rightfully so, because we're the ones pouring into them and educating them. And when she said that, that just halted me. And I can always tell when someone says something that's like profound, because it just halts my brain. And I just contemplate on that. Well, my first answer reflects what she said, is my third daughter. She is one of my proudest moments. Now, granted, we graduated 3 children. But the third one, for her to be, she finished really schooling at the age of 15. Everything was done that was required of her. She could have went on to college. But she decided not to. She wasn't ready to leave home. She says, Mommy, I'm just not ready to leave home. And we knew leaving home meant she was going to go off and study violin, right? To become a performance major. So we waited another year. She just did some extra little studies. That 15 year, I let her choose what she wanted to study, her 15. But at 16, she went off to college. So that was a proud moment for me in my homeschooling, to say my 16-year-old learned all she needed to learn, did well in these tests, very sound in her faith, very hungry in her violin and loving it, and now ready to go off to college, and was accepted with scholarships galore and this and that and the other. And now to have finished her first year with a 4.0 school, GPA, and all the accolades she got this first year for violin, I could say, wow, that's my proudest moment, to have this child who was like in kindergarten. Mom, only 10 pages of math, that's all I can do. Can I do some more pages? She went through first kindergarten and first grade her first year, and second and third grade her second year. Like, she was doing 2 years, and I always skipped middle school, so she was like done. Like, dude. So she was probably, if you can say, my proudest moment. I mean, just proud to see that I have this child who's done so well in schooling and loved schooling and excelled in schooling. But apart from her, if it didn't have to count on me, what would be my proudest moment? My proudest moment would be this, where it has nothing to do with me, is my younger 4. And I hope I don't cry. Ooh, I just got some heat come to me. But my younger 4 kids, all right. I'm going to try not to cry on this. But my younger 4, I told you they are adopted, right? And, girls, hopefully I don't cry. I get through this. And particularly my younger 3. My first adopted son, he is smart. I mean, brilliant. He has a brain that's just like scary because he's quick and he catches things. And so he had been in care all his life. Oh, it's okay if you do. My oldest adopted son, he was in care all his life, in foster care since he was 6 months old. So that's all he knew. And so to have that opportunity to bring him home and to homeschool him and give him a family and life, okay, that was great. I mean, beautiful. But it's my next 2, my twins who are now 9. We got them when they were 3. And how did you decide to adopt them? Oh, sweetie, you're about to make me cry. Okay, I'm gonna make it through. I'm gonna try and be strong here. Oh, I just thought about it. Oh, just about to make me cry again. Okay. All right, so my twins, who are now 9, we got them when they were 3, and they had their baby brother. He was 12 months old when we got him. All right. They were in preschool, and they were in self-contained classes, meaning that they had been labeled as special needs, unable to learn or thrive. These are my twins, okay? My boy and girl twins. It makes me mad and it makes me want to cry. So not only were they in the self-contained classes labeled as learning challenged children with an IEP, they separated these babies. Now, these are kids who were in foster care, though they were in care for only a year, but they've always been together. And if you know anything about twins, close, and to have been taken into care as they are close and to be made to be separated, huge. When we first met them and brought them home, and I'll do this with all kids, even the kids I used to care for back in the day in my child care, I always play these little games to see if they can remember something I say, or if they can regurgitate it, or they can be quick and give me an answer. It's a little game I play with all kids just to see where they are, just educationally. And when we brought them home, not brought them home, but when we first met them, I did that with them. And they could get back with me like everything. And I thought, well, that's interesting. They are labeled as special needs learning disabled. It's fine. Okay. Just looking at all the notes, you all giving me a lot of notes. And so they were labeled this way. And I went to the preschool. Did my husband? No, my husband wasn't able to go with me. So it was me. I went to the preschool to meet these administrators and that. Because at this time, they had come home. And it was our understanding, if once they come into our house, we're going to adopt them. Hi there, Sharita. Once they come into our house, we're going to adopt them. They're ours. So they came into our house, as a visit. And we thought, this is it, Lord. These are the ones. So I went on to meet them in the preschool, their administrator, and I saw them in their surroundings. And when I say, people, that our kids form to what's presented to them and the expectations of what they should have, my kids, my 2 twins, are the epitome of it. They were acting, if you will, and I'm not saying I take this the right way, but they were acting as if they had special needs. They were acting as if they were slow. They were acting as if they didn't know how to learn or how to be. They were acting as if there was just all of that. But when I had them and they were with us, they acted as bright kids who could articulate and talk. Though my girl, she was very shy. But anyway, long story short, I told these people, I'm going to take them out of this preschool. They don't need to be in these classes or whatever. And the administrator, it was the administrator and the teacher who was over their classes or whatever, and they strongly convinced me that my kids needed to be in these self-contained classes. And I was strongly telling them, though I hadn't adopted them yet, and I said, no, they don't need to be in these classes. They had care coming 3 times a week, all these different organizations coming into the house of the foster mom to give them care for OT care or PT care, all this different care and baby net and blah, blah, blah. The list went on and on and on. And I said, no, we're stopping all of that. I said, I'm a homeschool mom, and this is what homeschool moms do. We teach our kids, and I'm going to teach them how to be. And long story short, many of our children are gifted, but schools have an agenda. Yeah, the agenda is that in South Carolina, for every child that they have in a school that has special needs, they get tens of thousands of dollars for that one child. That's tens of thousands of dollars that helps pay the administrator, helps pay for the teachers or whatever, or the trips or whatever they want to take. My child, 2 of them, special needs, help give extra funding into this little pre-K school, and they didn't want to lose that funding. I'm going to tell you, that's all it is. They did not want to lose that funding. And I told them, no, nope. I got permission from their caseworker to stop all that stuff. And I said, they're going to be adopted by us, and so they're going to be in our home. We're going to stop it. So that's my proudest moment of homeschooling, where I was able to bring these kids home. They become ours, and now see them thrive. They are thriving. My girl who had the learning disability is the sharpest in math in this home and doing well. Beautiful cursor, everything, can read. You guys, no learning disabilities there at all. But if they would have stayed in this public school, which it just stirs my heart to think where they would have been if we didn't have them. And then it breaks my heart to think about how many kids who are in those classes and they don't need to be in those classes. So anyway, that's my proudest moment of homeschooling. So this is the time I tell everyone, please transition. This is a transition. All of you, please hit share. Sharing is caring. Let other people know about this platform of Girlfriend's Guide to Homeschooling. This is an interview with me, unique to what the normal is, but so many people have asked me, Angela, what's your story? What's your story? Well, Angela, what's your story? What's your story? So now I'm taking the time to share my story. Yes, the children are left behind. See, I love that. Praise Jehovah. Yep, facts. The rate of autism spiked in the past 5 years in this small cluster in South Central Los Angeles and Long Beach. I can't make this up. Yeah, I agree. Other things that we stop vaccinations. We don't vaccinate our kids because I really believe that has something to do with learning challenges and all of this kind of stuff. We don't vaccinate. We're chemical free. We're 100% chemical free. We're really close to it. We raise our own food, our meats and stuff, or we get it from an organic farmer. So those are the things that we do to make sure that our kids have the opportunity to thrive, and I'm going to be their best advocate anyway. So our twins are beautiful. I'll introduce you to my kids one day. All right, so I asked you all to share and all that. What's your favorite quote that helps you? Let's see, not now. Okay. What is your favorite quote that helps you through this homeschooling journey? That's a great question. See, I have to think about it. What is my quote, my favorite quote? I have a mantra that I say all the time, and that's good. Let me see if I can bring it to my brain. I say it all the time, right? But it's usually in the time of need that it comes to me. And what I tell all my guests when the question is hard and you can't think on it, tell yourself, that's a great question, Angela. That's a great question. And your brain will give you the answer. So that's a great question, Angela. Really good question. It's so good I'll come back to it. Do you plan to homeschool through high school? Yes. The plan is to go all the way through. We have 3 and I have 5 more to go. We hope to adopt 2 more. Somebody asked me the question, why did we even adopt? And that's a whole nother story. The gist of it is that we were trying to get pregnant. It didn't happen. I feel like the Lord said to adopt again, to adopt. All of the friends I had who are white was adopted, and they were adopting black children. I thought, and it just hit me. Tyrone, we have a great family. We're happily married. We have this wonderful big home. We're living great. Why are we not thinking about adopting? And so that's how it started. And I was going to bed one night. The Lord told me to grab something. I grabbed the closest thing to me, which was my Bible, and I wrote these names in it. And I told you we were trying to still conceive. And so I wrote Ephraim Thomas, Tirza Simone, Benjamin Thomas, Naphtali, Selah Yvonne. I wrote these names in the book. Needless to say, our first set of twins, they took the names Ephraim Thomas and Ephraim Thomas and Tirza Simone. And the baby took Benjamin Thomas. So we have 2 more names, Naphtali and Selah Yvonne. And those are the 2 that we hope to adopt soon. We don't know them, but we just know that they're there waiting for us. And so we're going to be doing that in the near future. So that's how we came to adopt. I thought, we're black. Why are we not adopting our own black children? And then the other thing was, we specifically wanted to have black boys that we adopted. The only reason why I got the twins is because Ephraim's name is Double Blessing, and Thomas, his middle name, means twin. And I didn't know that until after the Lord gave it to me. I looked it up. Double Blessing and twin. And so I told my husband, I said, honey, I think we're supposed to adopt twins since we're not birthing twins. And so we put in for twins, babies, and a toddler. And they came back and told us we have twin toddlers and a baby. Are you interested? And we thought, sure, that sounds good to me. And so we have been praying for over a year for them by name, Ephraim Thomas. We called them all by names. And so when we got them, we kept calling him Ephraim, and that wasn't his name. And he was like, he wouldn't answer. I was like, oh, he don't know Ephraim. We know Ephraim. And so we asked him if his name could be Ephraim. And he's like, yes, my name could be Ephraim. And then we asked our little girl, we kept calling her Tirza, and she wouldn't answer. And finally, we asked her if her name could be Tirza. And she said, yes, Tirza, I like Tirza. And the baby was a baby, and we changed his name to Benjamin Tyrone. So anyway, that's how we got those names, Ephraim, Tirza, and Benjamin. And then the next ones would be Naphtali and Selah. All right. What curriculum or book or CD do you have in your library that every homeschool must have? I think the best resource or curriculum or book or what have you that you should have is just a notebook with paper. Yep, just a notebook with paper. Now that I'm going more to the unschooling field, I just think that just being able to write your notes, what you all done for the day, is enough. Just write down what you've done for the day, and go for it from there. That's about it. I've read all of the other books, that are the classics and all that. Did they serve me well? Maybe they did, but just a notebook and paper. And let's see, what is the best piece of advice you've received that's aided you in your homeschooling? The best piece of advice as of recent is teach your children how to be free. Raise your children to be free children. And so now that is where I'm at in my journey. I'm taking a whole 180 degree in my schooling. After having, been in touch with Akila Richards, she was on my show a couple of weeks ago, and just listening to different unschoolers and that, my biggest desire now is to see my kids be free to be them and discover who they are apart from who I think they should be, or what they should learn, or what I should teach them. What is it that is their bend? How I saw with my son, he taught himself Japanese, you all. Hello, I didn't do that. They have a love. And as a result, my son taught, if I really thought about it, my second child, he taught me that they learn all this stuff in spite of everything. He was the one I was fighting with every day for school, every day. And then he half did it, forgot to do stuff, pitter-patted through school, just half did it. But the boy was brilliant. He scored out the wazoo, and he was reading books left and right. Yes, raising free children. Yes, yeah. And then my third oldest, she was the book person, but that was her bin. She likes checking off things, and she was like, she loves the books, loves the books, loves the books. So that was her bin. So it's just really letting them see who they are and what it is that they, gravitate to, and how can I assist them becoming all of who they are. And so for us, it will no longer be books for them. I don't think for the most part, it won't be books. It'll be them teaching themselves. And so right now, you know what my kids loving to do every day? Granted, we're in summer school and I'm trying out this unschooling, but every day is origami. Every day is chess. Now they're writing books. One is writing a book on origami and the other one's writing a comic book. They're doing it. And I'm just looking to see how they become who they are. All right, so my quote. I guess my quote would have to be, and this seems so generic, and but this is it. One, I give it to. My first quote my mantra that I say to myself is that, of course, and this is generic, all things are possible. There's no room for failure. I can do this. It can be done. There's no room for failure. I can do this. There's no room for failure. And then my second mantra that I tell myself continually, and for my kids, is that everything you need for life is already inside of you. Just tap into it. Everything that you need in life is inside of you. Just tap into it. And so that's my mantra. Like, there's no place for failure. There's no place for failure. So it's not possible. All right. Let's see. What is your favorite resource, tool, online resource that has helped you be successful in your homeschooling? So really, the resources that I've used in the past have been Khan Academy. Great, KHAN Academy.com has been a great resource. Virtual Homeschool Group was a great resource. Virtualhomeschoolgroup.org. Excellent resource. They taught all my kids their sciences. The teacher I won't say teacher, that the homeschool mom who's over that, she has an aerospace engineer degree. She's based out of somewhere, but that whole platform was created for families who homeschool, but maybe they're missionaries or they live abroad and they need to have these classes. Then they can join in, and from anywhere in the world, really. So my students have had kids from New Zealand, Hawaii, Germany, all over, absolutely all over the world, and it was free. It's a free resource. So what was that one? It's called virtualhomeschoolgroup.org. They also have a Facebook page. I have heard you say before that you don't do middle school. Could you elaborate on that? I can elaborate. Oh, you guys are enjoying me talking, rambling. As an interviewer, I get tired of hearing myself talk all the time. But I'll speak to that. Middle school years, after have homeschooled these 18 years, I discovered it when my oldest one was in the 4th grade. Yeah, virtualhomeschoolgroup.org. That's it. Yep, Virginia. In the 4th grade, and we were doing Abeka, what I discovered is that they always had the same science, the same information. Social studies were same. And then when we actually went into 6th grade, I saw the stuff that was in 6th grade, and then I saw it again in 7th grade, and I thought, well, this is crazy. We've been talking about this same social studies history stuff all elementary, and this was Abeka, and this is where I got my revelation, using Abeka all the way through. I was an Abeka girl, ABEKA.com or .org, either one. And this was my thing. I love Abeka. Most kids who use Abeka, they're going to be 2 to 3 years ahead of public school, easily. So my kids were always ahead. We used Abeka. But anyway, when we got to middle school, I recognized the same stuff was what we did in elementary. And I thought, well, this is crazy. Why are we doing the same history, the same sciences? Why are we doing the same thing? And then they didn't have a math. It was math 6 or math 7 or math 8. What is all this stuff? It was like, no, they didn't have even math 8. What did they have? They had consumer math. So they had a Math 6, Math 7, then Consumer Math, and then you went right on to Pre-Algebra, Algebra, and I thought, you know what? Why are we doing middle school years? Why am I wasting time on middle school years? So by the time I got to number 2, I just stopped middle school years. I just don't do them. It's nothing but a repeat. And if you go back to history, I'll be doing a live on this on educating our own when we start videos. So you'll hear more about educating our own. And I will talk specifically about middle school and why I skip it. And most counterparts, non-melanated people understand this and they skip middle school years too. Well, I don't say most, but it's a growing population that I discovered. I thought it was just something I did. But we skip middle school years. It's absolutely a waste of time. The idea is if you have a strong foundation, the foundational years, elementary years, great. That's all you need. Because algebra is a new learning subject, right? You just got to make sure you have the basics, then go to algebra. That's it. History is history. There's nothing new to there. It's not developmental. It's just informational. You continue on with that. English, if they get a good basis of grammar, that's the point of those elementary years for them to learn grammar, mechanics and all of that. Then you jump into literature. If they got a strong reading base in their elementary years, then boom, they can go right on up to high school English. The middle stuff is a waste. Okay, what else is there? Science, again, science is not something that's built upon. Get a strong foundation of just basic reading and love to learn. When it's time to show them biology, boom, they got it. So for me, those middle years are just complete waste. And since I started foreign language at a younger age, foreign language is not an issue. So just know your child. And if you feel like they need more time in those foundational years, elementary time, then use that middle school year time to continue to strengthen the foundational, but skip it. So that's how my oldest ones, all of my kids, they finish around 15, 16 years old. So my oldest one, she finished schooling really around 15, 16. She went on to dual enroll her 11th grade and 12th grade years. That was what she did. She did college courses her last 2 years. That was before I was brave enough to send her. Well, we knew she wasn't going to be heading off to 4-year degree college. Then my son, he wasn't sure what he was going to do. Also, although he finished, we just kept him going on in school because he just wasn't mature to do more beyond that. My third one, she was the one who, she finished middle school, finished at 15, wanted to continue on, so she just learned whatever she wanted to learn, went off to college at 16. So my last one, my fourth one, she tells me she wants to finish early too. I'm like, okay, babe, you can do it. So she'll finish and go off to college too. I think in the next year or two, we'll start some classes online since I know her desire is to go off to college. So we'll knock some things out there. All right, so hopefully that answered your question. That makes sense. My babies are younger, so I had not discovered that yet. This is Tanya. It makes perfect sense. Another confirmation for me. Thank you so much for this info about middle school years. Yeah, it's just a waste, really. It really is. All right, next. Here's the last question, the $1 million question. Are you ready? Here you go. If you had to start all over again from the beginning of your homeschooling journey, but you have your current wisdom, knowledge, skills, experiences, resources, what would you do differently or implement this time around? Well, this is a great question. And actually, we are starting all over. So as if we're starting all over. If I knew then what I knew now, I would definitely focus on my kids' freedom in their schooling, letting them discover themselves and what they enjoy and how they want to learn. I would be less power, control, authoritative driven, which that is my personality as a rep personality. I'm very much, this is the books, boom, 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 boom. And my rep personality means you follow rules. You follow rules. Rules are not meant to be broken, you guys. But there is this crazy streak of me that comes out, and I'm trying to live a blue personality in a red person body. My husband thinks I'm crazy. I might be a little bit, but when you've been red all your life and you're just like, by the rules, by the rules, by the rules, by the rules, it's time to jump out of that. So I'm diving into this blue personality a little bit. And so that blue personality incorporates some fun, some freedom, and enjoying life. Blue personalities have fun. I want to have fun. Blue personalities always have fun, and they enjoy life, and they're like, time? What time? Psst, time out the wazoo, whatever. So that is me. Angela, do they go to work with you? Are they learning the business part of schooling? Good question, Natasha. Yeah, I answered that. So if I had to start all over again, I would have loved to embrace my blue personality and allow them more freedom and me more hands-off. I'm doing that now with my younger ones. So my younger ones would get to benefit from this new mindset now of enjoying schooling, having fun. What do you like? What do you want to do today? What is, time? We're not on a time schedule. We're on a life schedule. So that's what I would be changing. That's the biggest thing. And I am changing it. Thanks to Akila Richardson. I appreciate her. And then a few people before that who talked about unschooling. I appreciate them so much. I feel like a new person, new mindset. And at 45 is what a better time to go through a midlife crisis. I mean, to change your ways, right? All right. So to answer her question, Angela, do they go to work with you? Yes. So my husband, as I mentioned, he has his own coffee business. So yes, they go to work. They right now rotate the younger four. So my oldest ones have been doing business with him. It's only been 3 official years. He stopped working 4 years ago for corporate America. He did a year working in a coffee business setting, so he can see what that looks like, all the ins and out, the back stuff, all that. And so now 3 years on his own. So yes, my kids go off with him to work. Now we just started with the little ones. The one who I see most bent to, to business, I guess. He's my oldest twin. Well, it's two twins, but he's 9 years old. He's driven to that. So he's been going off to work with my husband part of the day. He goes with him, and he's learning how to serve. He's learning how to make the drinks. He's learning how to give change, which we learned in school anyway. And he's loving it. So that's what he does. And then after, we haven't decided, maybe he'll do that for a couple of months or so, and then we'll switch up. Or we may have other kids. It's all new within the last few weeks that the younger ones have started. So we may have another one go with my husband on a Saturday. That's a whole different ball game. Or events. We do a lot of events. And so that's a whole nother ball game. So we're figuring it out. But yes, the idea is to, have more of our coffee units, mobile coffee cafes. Right now, we're mainly at some colleges and that type of thing. And we do events, farmers markets, all of that. We are not on the time schedule. We are life schedule. Yeah, Tasha, I am very much red personality. So red personalities, we need to be on the schedule. So that's that. So any last words of advice, and share how you serve the homeschooling community and the best way people can contact you. Those are my last questions I always ask. So my last words of advice is, my dear, dear, dear melanated people who may see this video far and near, educate your own children. We're going to be our best advocate for our kids. And even if you don't feel like you're smart enough or educated enough yourself, there is a way that can be done. In some states, you have to have a GED, like in South Carolina. You have to have at least a GED or higher to homeschool. And if you don't have that, then you can't homeschool. Even in that, there is a way to do it. And I just always feel that there is a way. Maybe go ahead and get your GED so that you can educate your own kids. After the experiences I have had with my own child being in public school, my oldest one, and then my twins who were in public school labeled as learning difficult with an IEP, outlining their difficulties and why they can't learn. And then my second child, who would have went on to school and would have been on ADHD and a self-contained padded wall room because he was just off the chain. We need to educate our own. And we, in the past, our ancestors fought to get us into public school and fought for that right. And while I don't down public school, and I understand that is it's an opportunity for some, I think for the masses, we need to start shifting this rhetoric and shifting the focus and the story and starting to educate our own children. and give them what they need and allow them to thrive. Allow them to thrive in their own skin, in their own freedom, and in their own autonomy, really, okay? So that would be my last words of advice. And if you are homeschooling, stick to it. Get yourself a sister circle who can encourage you. Stay connected to platforms like this that brings encouragement to your journey for homeschooling. And just know that there's no place for failure, because everything that you need for success, whether it's business, whether it's being a homemaker, whether it's being a wife, whether it's being an author, whether it's being whatever, I truly believe it's already in you. It's been given to you. It's already in us. And we just have to tap into that. Meditation or being still or whatever. We just need to tap into it because we already got it. We just need to, it needs to be released, okay? No holds bar. Tasha, you are such a blessing. You have helped my husband and me tremendously as we make another pivot on our world schooling journey. Oh, world schooling journey. Thank you. I'm glad I can help in small ways like that. And so that would be my last words of advice. What do I have my hands into? So you all know who are viewing this, or maybe you don't. I'm the host of Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. I'm also co-founder of Educating Our Own, which is a platform that's coming out. You'll start seeing more commercials about that, and more excited. Lots of information on Educating Our Own, where we, I'm trying to see, do I have the, I don't have the mission in front of me. I want to read the mission, but the mission is basically where there's going to be it's a village, and we're growing a village. We're elders. We're going to have our own diasporic focused curriculum, and it's going to be resources where there's no way anyone could fail. So I'm going to be pulling from all of these different people who I have interviewed, who I identify and feel that they are elder with identifiable voices. You're going to be presented with the opportunity to partner with us in educating our own. So I'm very excited about that. When people say, I can't do it, Angela, show me how, what's this, what's that? This platform is going to give you all the tools that you need, where you see yourself represented, giving you feedback as an elder. You think of an elder who's wise and they give out information and insights. You go sit at the elder's feet. Well, this is what's going to happen. And so we're building this platform, Educating Our Own, where there's always going to be success, for home education, where we can think about giving scholarships to our own people. So it's happening. It's coming. You all stay tuned. So that's how you can get in contact with me. Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling, Educating Our Own. Send me a friend request on Angela Jordan Perry. That's my Facebook page. I'm on Instagram, Angela Jordan Perry. Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling is on Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube. You can just type in Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschool or Angela Jordan Perry, and you'll find all the resources there. And so you can get in contact with me. So, girlfriends, I say this very, very humbly, but you are the average sum of the 5 people you hang out with. And for this past hour, I think it's been an hour, for this past hour and a half, oh my goodness, you've been hanging out with me, Angela Jordan Perry. And I pray that it has brought value to you all, and anything I said have been encouraging and enlightening to you all. So thank you all for all of your questions. If you have more questions, just ask me, and I'll be happy to get back and answer them. I go through all the comments and answer. Thank you all for all the love. You make a girl feel real sweet. All right, so remember to stay connected to positive people. Okay, positive people. Stay connected to positive people. There's too many people out there who can drain all the goodness out of you and just dump a whole bunch of trash in you. Don't hang around with those people. Get with positive people who are going to make a positive impact in your homeschooling and in your life. And then you be that positive force that other people can draw from. It's a give and take. Okay? So you all keep up the momentum and continue to stay connected with positive resources. And girlfriends, remember that to teach a child is to touch a life. As we homeschool, we not only touch a life, we shape the future through our efforts of homeschooling. So keep making a positive impact day after day year after year. We are doing it in small and big ways, okay? All right, so thank you all for having this time with me. Thanks for all the questions. If you have more questions, just ask them in the feed and I'll go back and look through. Maybe I've missed some questions, so please forgive me if I've done that. I am doing this without glasses. Every week, every interview, I do without glasses, so I can barely see. So if I miss some questions, just know blame it on my eyes and not my heart, okay? So, all right, girlfriends, it's your turn. You go out there and continue to homeschool, make a difference, make it what you want. You can do it, and everything that you need is within you already. So thanks for joining. As always, we have our interviews 3 times a week. We have another great interview from a mom in Virginia on Wednesday, and then a mom on Friday from California. Is she? Hold on. Texas. She's coming out of Texas on Friday. So, all right, you all take care. There she is, Angela Vaughn. She's going to be our interviewee on Friday from Texas. You're welcome, Regina. Thank you all for joining. And we'll see you soon on Girlfriends' Guide to Homeschooling. Bye. Mwah. Thank you, guys. Thank you, ladies.